Hi, Libra. Yum. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys are well. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. I've got a reading for you for the month of April. I hope you've been doing really, really, really well. So Libra, I had to wait for your reading. I had to wait for Venus, your ruling planet, to enter Pisces, where it's exalted. It actually really loves being here. And I think the difficulty and the harshness that that you've just been going through, it's because your ruling planet was in a sign that it really doesn't like to be. But it's one of those signs that kind of made you really look at the truth of where you are and where you need to expand internally and externally. So Venus now moving into the sign of Pisces, shortly being followed by Mars, is going to be one of those experiences, Libra, where there's going to be a depth of emotion, and it's almost like a tsunami, a wave of emotion that you can't sort of avoid or bypass. And the best way sort of through this is literally through it. And so April is one of those months where you might have to really confront a lot of subconscious, deep-rooted, emotional stuff that needed to be dealt with, that may be brought to the surface, that you can't really avoid or ignore. What's really good about both Venus and Mars being in Pisces is that there's an element of duality there. And I think you're familiar and comfortable with dualities. And so I would say to you, being within the good and the bad is kind of a safe haven for you, Libra. And so with this full moon coming up in your sign on the 16th, I think you're going to find that there might be a lot of winding up or closing out of certain cycles, and these could be emotional cycles. When the full moon is in your sign, it's an emphasis on what your abilities are, and sometimes finding the balance or bringing love and harmony to a situation is what you're really good at. And so I would say really be in that for this full moon. You know what I mean? Balance the scales, la la la, all of that kind of stuff. But more so than anything, it's about being in harmony, being harmonious, being in your true self. And you are a loving person. You're a lover, not a fighter. And sometimes when those scales are sort of getting a bit reckless, it's kind of important to remind you to just kind of focus on love. And so while we're in this transit of Venus and Mars in the sign of Pisces, with your full moon, I would say April is all about love, and it starts from the self. It starts from deep within you. And if you can find that love within you, Libra, it's going to be so easy to, be full of love for the rest of the world. But it is important for you to fill your own cup right now. Book a reading. If you're struggling, if you feel like you're stuck, if you feel like you need, tarot is wonderful because it's one of those things that brings up a lot of things that may have been stuck in our energy. And it does a lot to help us kind of bring forward parts of ourselves that may have been hidden for a really long time, and things that we can't necessarily put words to, the details and the little finicky bits of ourselves that need, a bit of highlighting and illuminating. And I feel like with the moon in your sign for this full moon, there will be a lot of details that have come up to the surface. And booking a reading it's an accurate way to find out what comes up next in your life, because tarot is great at picking up energy. So I've got 3 decks for you this month. I've got the Psychic Tarot by John Holland, the Chakra Wisdom Oracle Tori Hartman, and the Waite, of course. All of the details are in the description box, where you can book a reading, the website. Leave me a comment, Libra. I love it when you do that. And so I do feel like this is going to be an emotional month, and I don't think there's any point in sugarcoating that. There's going to be a lot of stuff that come out, which might mean a lot of closing out cycles, emotionally closing out certain cycles, throat chakra. there might be a lot that you have to speak on. Mercury moves into the sign of Taurus on the 10th, and this gives us more of a grounded, pragmatic approach to laying plans and future thinking. And so I do think that there's a lot that needs to be communicated on your part, Libra. There's a lot that you need to say, and I feel as if there is a need for all of it to just come out, and you need to say it without fear, and you need to be very firm with your words. And I think that it's also one of those times where healing the times where you felt repressed, healing the times where you may have felt like no one was on your side, healing the times where you felt like you couldn't say things that you really wanted to. I think, Libra, speak on it. And there's a sensual, soft side to Taurus and Mercury in Taurus that a lot of people aren't too familiar with. But I feel like whilst the moon is in your sign, you might really get a taste of that Venusian softness, you know, that you're really familiar with. So that's the waiting game. That's your energy balance. That's heartache and loss. That's triumphant success. And that's movement, choices, and decisions. So Libra, I do feel like there is decisions that you're making about moving. Could be moving home. Either way, there might be a wait period. And I think whilst you're in this wait period, you know, finding balance to certain heartaches and loss during this full moon, where this energy is very much about emotional healing, the more you apply healing to this time, the better it is for you. I want you to really see this period. Oh, and this was turned upwards. Discontent and boredom. Libra, what is going on? There's a lot of serious energy here, Libra, and I do feel like the only way through it is literally through it. You know what I mean? And Libra, finding balance in a time where you just don't care for anything is really quite a difficult thing to do. But you know that once you'll do it, you'll feel good again. And so it is about finding the harmony and the balance with how you're feeling right now. And whatever this heartache and loss is, it could have been a breakup, it could have been a divorce, a separation. For some reason, I'm thinking there is success in you deciding to move on from a hurt, from a loss, from a heartache. The waiting and the discontent and boredom that has come with it is now, with this cardinal season, this Aries, season, is asking you to make those necessary decisions. Those choices that you may have avoided and the movement that you know that you really need. Libra, it might be worth considering how you can turn this situation into a victory, because every experience is a lesson. And I do feel like there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel once you heal wholeheartedly things that you know have been repressed, have been suppressed, and really just need an outlet. I feel as if you could do a lot to heal yourself right now. And again, like I said, book a reading. Readings are great ways to just give a bit of a roadmap to where you may have been feeling like, the cards are really speaking. Trickery. I sense distrust. I sense you're not trusting the people around you right now. You're not sure of who you can rely on. And I think that's not necessarily the best place to be. But Libra, when you really get silent and still and really start fortifying your heart space after something that has felt like a heartache or a loss, the more energy that you pour into your heart via heart meditations, via bringing yourself into alignment by really just not doing the things that you don't want to do and really focusing on what makes life worth it for you and how you can just fill your time with all of the things that you love doing. Despondence. It's not the time to kind of lose sight of why you've been holding on for so long. It's not the time to just give up right now. And so before you decide to throw the towel in, think of the abundance that's on the other side of you getting through this particular trial. Okay, and this could be an abundance of love, finances, or even your self-concept. Either way, don't lose sight of destiny. I love this because that's destiny and quest. So you're really onto something here, Libra, and I think it's important that you don't lose sight, okay? I do feel like there are certain things that you do need to kind of accept, and what you can't change, you should kind of lay to rest. And there's also Hermit energy. There is a need for you to kind of take a moment, a pause, a time out, and whilst Venus in Pisces is exalted, and there's a real romantic side to this energy, and I do feel like it will come. It really will. But it's about you making the right decisions and the right choices and moving in the right decision. And instead of like waiting, and I do feel like there might be some answers that you have to wait on, which is outside of your control. I just feel as if you being in a place of heartache and loss and discontent and boredom might really just kind of throw you off where you're supposed to be right now. All of the cards are on the floor today. And so that always lets me know that these are real messages, you know, when the cards are jumping around like that. Libra, this is beautiful. The bottom of the deck was the Four of Wands. That's the 1111 card for me. That's the card of marriage also. It's unions, it's partnerships, it's pairings that are successful. Piscean energy, the Hanged Man. The Lover's energy, Gemini energy, I love that. The Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Pentacles. Like, give me a second, let me just arrange this so that I can put together a message. Okay, Libra, are you ready? Let's go. Libra, this monotonous back and forth that you're doing because you're not healing what you know really needs healing, and then you're like, fuck it out, Ruby, how much more healing do I have to do? Listen, you just waiting and ignoring a problem is not healing. Okay, the waiting is kind of turning into torture because you're discontent and you're bored, and this heartache and loss is kind of festering. This full moon gives you an opportunity to really find the internal balance so that you can externalize it as a success. There is abundance and a triumphant success that's waiting to happen once you take some time out just to cut this despondence and this discontent and boredom and really kind of acknowledge where it is that you kind of need to take the time for isolation, in a sense that you're building, you're recouping, you're redoing. You accepting that destiny is at play here, like what your quest is, what you've been set out to do, Wheel of Fortune, is now happening. If you're going to stay on this monotonous up and down, cyclical back and forth, and it could be with a partner, it could be with a Pisces, it's only going to create more discontent and boredom. And I do feel like Aries season, Cardinal season, like yourself, once you're done with the emotional healing that you know that you've got to do, and Mercury now moves into Taurus, and then there's your full moon, and then Mercury moves into Gemini, and then there's the solar eclipse at the end of the month, you're going to see a real turnaround in the way that you feel. Okay, what's been down has inevitably got to go up. Right? And so if you're responsible for being on this cyclical roundabout roller coaster, you're very much in charge of making sure that that's going up now. And I say that because there's two cards of you really taking some time out for yourself and really doing an internal recce to see what's really going on inside of you, Libra, and how being angry about it, or doing things out of discontent and boredom or heartache and loss has thrown you a little bit off balance. And so what you really need to do is move in the right direction. And sometimes that means taking a time out to just accept what you've given up on, and knowing where you can change everything around by accepting. And these, whatever you're accepting, it leads you to a triumphant success. Because the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Swords, it means exactly that. You lead your own way to victory. The Lover's energy, significant soulmate energy. There's even a marriage card here. You need time to kind of illuminate. Just hang tight. Give yourself some time to work on your throat chakra, on what you want to say, on what victory looks like. And then acknowledging wholeheartedly that you are 100% where you're supposed to be. This is destiny playing out, and it is your personal quest here that is making you feel these ways. And so if you're really done turning a blind eye to the truth of how you really feel, you can make massive, massive abundance for yourself. Allow the truth. Don't lie to yourself anymore. Don't hide it, and don't pretend, and don't fake it, and just be really upfront, really truthful, really honest about everything, Libra. Everything. Book a reading. Head over to the website, rubyreadstarot.com. Leave me a comment. I love it when you do that. Smash that subscribe button. And I love you, Libra. Take care.